Skill development is a major part of our life. And if you also want to develop your skills in each and every possible manner, then you must come to book reading session, or what we call the BRS. Here, under the leadership of Dr. Kiran Bedi, we have a chance to interact with the children of your own field and to grow yourself. So what are you waiting for? Join the book reading session, or what we call the BRS, and start your growth journey right now.
ए वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, ए वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ मैं याद रहे तू, ए वतन मेरे वतन. Singing is my passion, and drawing is also one of my hobby. Thank you.
Good evening everyone. My hobbies are cooking, traveling, writing and playing the musical keyboard. Here are some glimpses of my cooked food.
Hobbies are something that turn work into leisure and convert leisure into work. A very good evening. My hobbies are dancing and listening to music. Take a brief look at my pictures. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and I'll now be sharing with you what are my favorite hobbies. My favorite hobbies are playing tennis, reading, coloring and writing poems. My most favorite one is tennis because it motivates me to do anything in life. These are the achievements that I got after playing tennis for a long time. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My hobby is singing and I am very passionate about it, and each and every musical note runs through each and every vein of my body. Apart from it, I love to spend time with nature, which relaxes my mind and refreshes it with new thoughts and new ideas. Thank you.
So this book named Happiness Unlimited is the book I'm currently reading, and this book is already my favorite. This book is a conversation with Sister Shivani and Suresh Oberoi. The reason why there is so little happiness in this world is dependency. Mind it, happiness is not dependent on anything or anyone or found anywhere. Happiness is a decision. This book tries to capture the essence of Sister Shivani's thoughts and understanding of happiness and its various dimensions.
My favorite book is Art, a Swami and Friends written by R.K. Narayanan. The reason that I love this book is because of the hero who is like me. His studies, his adventures, his hatred for school and friendship, all are referred without any emotions. Swami is a naughty but a honest child who goes through all emotions as a child of that age. A child who was free from technology, growing up with nature and the innocence of childhood. Thank you.
Greetings to all. My favorite book is India's Biggest Cover-Up by Anuj Dhar. Whenever I read this book, I always feel myself in the social, economical and political conditions of 1950s India. This book revolves around the mystical disappearance of our greatest freedom fighter, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and reveals the political situations of the time. This book is very much interesting to read about. Thank you.
Hi, my favorite book is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. In this, she documents her life during the time of the World War. The most important message it gives is that all people have the right to live in freedom. Anne's story shows us that people should not be treated differently based on their religion or race. This book is also a source of inspiration and hope. Thank you.
Named Lord Edgar Dye is my favorite book and I am fond of it. This book is written by the author Agatha Christie, who is also known as the Queen of Crime. I love this book because it takes me to the world of crime and mysteries. This book is filled with curiosity, murder and thrill.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
you've done plenty. You've shared with us your hobbies, your creativity, and then you've also talked about the book you picked up. You wonder, why do we say this? Why do we make you do this? We can just chat, but why do we first of all want to know your hobbies, your creativity, and then the book? Why? Aditya, would you tell us, why do we do this? Why do you think we do it?
Is it because so that we can all get together, know better?
Is it to know better? Any other reason, Princey?
To have better interactions and be familiar with each other.
Okay, to know better, to better interaction. Dakshita, what do you think is the meaning
Ma'am,
of why do
because the person is known by his or her personality.
okay, personality, Krishna?
Ma'am, we can feel a sharp connect between all of us if there is something similar.
Connect. Snigdha, why do we
So
get
that so that we can self-analyze ourselves, then only we'll be able to judge others, and then only we'll be able to make good connection with others. That is the reason why I think so.
okay. Let me tell you why we do it. You all have a component that's an element in the why. But it's important to know why. Because we wanting to instill the spirit of reading, spirit of value for a book. Now, we've asked you today for saints of India. First time we are asking for saints. So, book, saints, and telling us about your achievements. When you tell us about your achievements, you are expressing your confidence, self respect, and confidence. So, it's to heighten your self respect, heighten your confidence. When we ask you for a book, it is to actually link you with the book, to make you curious about the book, maybe instill a habit of you picking up a book on a regular basis. And then we've introduced the saint to bring a spiritual component in you, to value Indian saints. What made them what made them immortal in a way? So, three things combined: your self confidence, love for book reading, and value and respect for saints of India, which is Indian history, it's Indian heritage. Every saint is a gift to the world, is heritage. So proud of the sainthood we had. See, like everybody has, that's why they baptize, and they also have what is it called when you are made a saint, when Mother Teresa, what is it called when the bishop baptizes? Is it baptizing? No, something else. No, when the person becomes,
Enlightenment.
huh?
Enlightenment.
Ma'am, enlightenment.
Huh?
Ma'am, enlightenment.
No, there's more than that. When the person is, I, there's a word I forget. Sorry. When the person is becoming a saint, when Mother Teresa from a nun now becomes attained sainthood, and when the Pope of the from the Pope in Italy from Rome, then he blesses, and that person becomes. Is it baptized? I don't know. I'm getting the word. I'm not getting it. But you see that like Mother Teresa, Saint Francis, all these are sainthood when they attain the sainthood, right? This is what heritage is. So why are we asking you
Yes,
these
ma'am.
things? Huh?
Ma'am, I think I know that word. It's
Can you?
renunciation.
No, but it's something else. Not renunciation. It's can. I think there is a word which we forget. I'll ask somebody from back end to send me the word, or come up on the screen and tell us. But there is a word where they are given the statehood. So what I'm saying is, so you for these three things I explained to you. That is the reason. Not that we interact more. What is
Ma'am,
it?
I think it's canonization.
Canonization. Correct. Thank you, Shivani. It's canonization. It by sea. So see that we got the word? It's canonized. So when they canonized, they attained the sainthood. Thank you, Shivani. So this is why they remember. See, in every faith, they have their own way of making their own people whom they've idolized or they've contributed, spiritualize the world better. They are canonized. In Christianity, they're canonized. Here they attain sainthood. Mahatma ban Mahatma. और हर एक का गुरु बन जाते हैं, गुरु, महात्मा. सो ऐसे वर्ड्स बहुत सारे हैं जहां फिर वो हमेशा उनको पूजा जाता, फिर कईयों की मूर्ति बन जाती, दे आइडलाइज्ड, राइट. सो दैट इज द रीजन. ए, continue with the habit of book reading, continue to the explore. You are in one session with me, but our object is to have sown the seed. It's sowing a seed of book reading, seed of sainthood, and also seed of always expressing these are my quality. It's not boasting, it's knowing your strengths. Just as you want to know what are my weaknesses which I can improve upon, what are the habits I can do better, but what are the habits I'm very proud of. I can paint, I can sing, I can cook, but I can write a poetry. All of you have expressed your strengths. So congratulations. So now let's begin with the sainthood. I'm very curious to know now, what have you read about that saint? Whether you read it from Wikipedia or you saw a film or a parent narrated to you. Let's see how you are going to express. This is the first time we're having now. We had freedom fighters, the unsung heroes prior to that. We moved from unsung heroes now. For almost a year, we were focusing on unsung heroes. But now we are moving on saints of India. Okay, Adityan, who's the saint for you? You've identified.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first to say, good evening to you, ma'am. So I'll be saying my saint. My saint is Gautam Buddha. The reason why I chose him is because, ma'am, he inspires me. The reason is that, ma'am, whenever uh, because he helps me understand the life, that life, it'll be hard, and everything will we achieve will be used hard work, but we should never give up with that. And the second reason why is because all the messages he has given are really good that we can even use in our daily lives. For example, the triple truths, which says, uh, which says a generous heart, a kind speech, and a life of service and compassion. These three are the messages which renew humanity. Yes, ma'am.
All the five of you must remember the saints because all these qualities you will all take along. If he's giving you three traits of Gautama Buddha, you will take home 15. Remember that. So I think that's a whole another gain you will go by, because you never know in your which essay, which competition, which interview, all these things will come back to you. Have you seen any film on Gautam Buddha? Have you heard anything on YouTube from Gautam Buddha about the
Ma'am,
life of Gautam Buddha?
ma'am, well, I remember when I was in sixth grade, I read about his history, ma'am. I even read one part of it, which, ma'am, I could explain to all. He saw first, ma'am, when he saw an ailing person and a corpse, he felt that nothing in this world can be permanent. So, and later he fled from his palace. Yes.
So, what is the takeaway for you after reading the life of Gautam Buddha? What have you taken? What will stay with you?
Well, I would say, ma'am, a quote, okay, ma'am. His quote, which says, "The mind is everything, and what you think is what you become." Yes, ma'am. That's all.
So, he's focusing on your thoughts. You are a
Yes, ma'am.
product of your thoughts. You're a product of your mind. That means you are above your mind. You have a mind, but you are not the mind only. You have a mind, but you're not the mind only. You're the mind, the body, the soul, so many things. So that remember, that means you are the master of your mind. You have a mind. You and your mind are separate, isn't it? So if you ask me, ma'am, my mind is very troubled, then I'll say, but then you have a troubled mind. That means you are in control of your mind. You can trouble it or not trouble it. You can tease it or not tease it. So that's a very good message from Buddha's learning. And this is a lifelong learning. Aditya, if you remember this, this will keep your life on track. Second thing I think you talked about Buddha was impermanence. What's the understanding of the word impermanence?
Ma'am, I think is it because that it's not permanent? Like
Means
everything, like everything in the world. For example, us, ma'am, like us human beings, we have like a century to live. We can't live forever. That's beyond, and we have everyone. Everything has a limit, like that.
so were you a nursery boy all your life?
Not exactly, ma'am.
Would you be a young man all your life? Would you be a
Ma'am,
teenager all your life?
well, that as I said, ma'am, there's a limit for that as well.
So that means you'll continue to grow and evolve. So that
Yes.
basically means messages time is flying, nothing's
Yeah, ma'am,
permanent.
and also not to waste it.
Yes, that's the point. Now you've understood that
Yes,
time is going to fly. What is in your hands is what you do with what is going to fly because it's
yes, ma'am.
not permanent. Good.
Yes.
Okay, Princey, who's your saint?
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good evening, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity. I will be speaking about Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the greatest thinker, traveler, philosopher, poet, and a social reformer the land of Punjab has produced. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism, was born on the day of Purnima in the year 1469 in Talwandi village, which is presently known as Nankana Sahib. His father was Mehta Kaluji and his mother was Mata Tripta. He had a sister named Nanki. One day, his father gave him rupees 20 to go to the market and do trade. And he saw hungry sages on his way, and he. Just a second, ma'am, just a second. He saw hungry sages on his way, and he spent the entire amount to feed them. And he returned back home and he told his father that he did the true bargain or the sacha sauda.
Sacha Sauda. I did Sacha Sauda. Yeah.
He preached three main mottos: Naam Japna, Vand Chakna, and Kirat Karna. Naam Japna means to always stand the name of God. Vand Chakna is to help the poor and needy and selflessly engage in charity. Kirat Karna is to follow an honest means of living. Thank you.
How wonderful. So, and you are from Jalandhar. You're obviously closer because now Guru Nanak Jayanti is also about to come.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So this is so. How did you feel about reading about Guru Nanak Dev Ji?
I felt very inspired. His teachings are still relevant that he gave it so long ago.
Did you read or you already knew?
I knew most of the things. I still researched a lot about him and got to know many more
Did you
things.
research?
Yes.
Hmm. You boys and girls should know they're all available on YouTube's. So search around in YouTube's and you get it all ready. It's a very good and it's visual, so it makes a lot of sense. Yes. So can there be violence? Can there be corruption if they follow Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings?
Can you please repeat?
Can there be corruption? Can there be violence if people follow Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings?
No, no, not at all. He always taught about love and brotherhood. He told people to
Yes.
never be swayed by the feelings of anger, lust, or selfishness.
Hmm. And he had very high spiritual powers. Anyway, okay, let's go. I'm so happy. Continue to study him. Continue to read him. continue to follow his teachings. Okay, Dakshita, who's your saint? Or have you studied?
Firstly, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to you and your demonstrative learning team, ma'am. Um, because you are my idol, ma'am. It's like a dream come true to me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you so
So,
much.
ma'am, today's inspiration is Shri Aurobindo Ghosh. Actually, I started reading your book, Fearless Governance.
Oh, so sweet of you.
So there I got to know about Shri Aurobindo Ghosh, and he's not only an inspiration for me, he's an inspiration for thousands of people and spiritual seekers because of his phenomenal contribution to the spiritual development of India. So, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh was a rare combination of writer, poet, philosopher, and spiritual leader. He was born on 15th August 1872 in Kolkata. His father, Dr. Krishnan Ghosh, wanted his children to be only schooled in England because he didn't wanted them to come under any Indian influence. However, it was first time at the Cambridge University that Sri Aurobindo Ghosh became aware about the plight of his country. He got so inspired to join a society that was committed to overthrow British rule. With his new political perspective, he turned down the idea of joining British civil service, and at the age of 21, he turned back to India because he was committed to work for India's independence. Through his journal Vande Matram, he was the first leader to call for Puran Swaraj, that is, full independence. He was politically active and promoted many revolutionary activities. India's independence was his primary concern. However, because of a disastrous incident, he got arrested at Alipur bomb case and was isolated in jail for a year. But by a curious stroke of fate in British jail, he he got the inner command not to worry about politics, but the only task that was given to him was was for the renewal of Sanatan Dharma, that is the eternal religion. After a while, he moved to the French province of Puducherry, and there he dedicated himself to his spiritual disciplines, and the spiritual seekers got attracted, and an informal ashram began to set up, the Sri Aurobindo Ashram, where you visited too. That's it,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
And
That's
the
so sweet
thing
of
that
you.
inspires me the most, usually people ignore their true self and realities in the mind, life, and body. But, ma'am, this shouldn't be done. For this, I follow the practice of Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, the internal yoga. That is to develop our inner selves. That's it, ma'am. Thank you.
Excellent. Have you been to Pondicherry?
No, ma'am.
You
I
must
would
go
like to
children.
come there.
It's the cleanest place today, one of the cleanest places in India.
Yes, ma'am.
Cleanest. It's probably one of the cleanest. Have you been there, Princey? Have you been there, Aditya? You are in Tamil Nadu. You're close by.
Yeah, ma'am, I've been there. And I also been to the Sri Aurobindo, ma'am.
That's
It's
right.
really clean. It's very clean there, ma'am, compared to the place where I live.
That's right. It's clean in air. It's clean in air as well. It's the least polluted also in the current situation.
Yeah, ma'am.
Compared. Yeah. We are all very gifted with a most beautiful place, Pondicherry. Krishna, who is your hero? Saint of a hero.
Good evening, ma'am. So, ma'am, my saint is Shri Swami Vivekananda ji. So, why I like to talk about him many a time. What inspires me is the ability, the attitude of him of rejecting the bad words, or more precisely, the bad thought around you. Ma'am, I would like to share a small incident of it, if I am allowed.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, when he was in Chicago, his world famous Chicago speech for the Religion Council. So, one fine day in the afternoon, when he was having a lunch in the cafeteria, he sat next to a British professor. So, the professor was very much arrogant and in his self esteem. And he personally did not like the ideas of Swami Vivekananda ji. He was jealous of him. So in his arrogance, he said to Swami Vivekananda ji that pigs don't sit near to swans. So in this situation, any common man would be very much in anger. will be furious and also do in the heated controversy debate. But Swami Vivekananda ji, with a very polite smile and a bright face, he said to him that if pigs don't sit next to swans, that I would fly. His simplicity of selecting his thoughts was what it made me inspired. And ma'am, I also remember a quote of him: the thoughts are necessary. Your words are secondary. Your thoughts are what which make us. So select it wisely. Your words are secondary. Your thoughts are ultimate. They go far. Thank you, ma'am.
Good. Today, I too was reading an article in the papers on thoughts. And do you know, he said that that article is written by Swami from the Ramakrishna mission. And he said in that article, which is very useful for you, all of you, since we talked about the mind and the thoughts. Adityan started with the mind, and you also talked about the thoughts. And so are you, all the three of you are talking so far. You've all talked about thoughts. See, that's what Saint Spirit is. And the article says that you're so careful on how you're very careful you don't poison your water. You stay away from poison. You know? We don't poison our water, do we? We don't poison our food, do we? We're very careful with the kind of food we eat that it's not poisonous. And there's no poison, so that you know poison is fatal. Right? So you stay away from poison. He said, same way, bad thoughts are also poison for the mind. And if we are careful with what thoughts we acquire or what thoughts we think in, then इधर का आज का अखबार है यहाँ इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स में शायद देखो इधर मार्क किया था मैंने ये I'll share with you this very interesting thing. Thoughts can heal. The article is Thoughts Can Heal. And it is written by Swami Mukundanandaji. And the main portion is our health and well-being are enhanced when we feel joyous. Positive thoughts of love, hope, and courage are the best vitamins we can offer to our body. They nourish our organs and rejuvenate our energy levels. About 2,500 thoughts run through our mind every hour. How many? How many, as I said? How many thoughts run every hour?
2,500.
2,500 thoughts.
2,500.
2,500 thoughts run through our mind every hour. Every hour. And if we are waking up, keeping awake for 17 hours, 16 hours, you can imagine the thousands and thousands of thoughts which go through our mind. And he says, Swamiji says, about 2,500 thoughts run through our mind every hour. Imagine their potential healing power if they are joyous and optimistic. The idea behind the prayer is to train our mind to nurture compassionate and noble emotions. And he says that we all take utmost care not to ingest poison in any form. Yet, at times we do not know, unknowingly, we constantly put negativity in our minds and poison our minds. He says, just as we are careful with an external poison going into our food, similarly, we should be very careful with the thoughts we put in our mind, which could be poison. So instead of poison, why not put Amrit? Amrit. See, so when you put Amrit in it, that means your mind is pure. But when you put poison in your mind, poison of thoughts, what do? You make it ale. It's poison. It's dying. It actually dies because it's dying within. The positive cells are dying. So that is why the thoughts can heal, it says. This is from the Economic Times of today. Thoughts can heal, which means that when we replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts of love, care, spirit of giving, naam, give. It's exactly what Guru Nanak Dev Ji also said. Sacha Sauda. We do sacha conduct. Sacha Sauda, then we can heal ourselves. Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes,
This is what Swami Mukundananda ji said. So these children, you are all four of you exactly talking about the focus. That's what Buddha said. If you mind is the place where your nobility comes or evil comes. When I was running the prison as IG prison, what was happening? Those 10,000 prisoners who were inside Tihar jail, what was what was the crime they had committed? Where did the crime grow? Tell me, where did the crime grow? Where
ma'am,
did
in
the
our
crime?
minds, in our hearts.
The crime grew in our mind. And when the mind does not grow crime, they don't come into the jail. But when mind, the hands are guided by the mind, isn't it? So all four
Yes,
of you are taking over lots of these good messages on thoughts can heal. Okay, let's hear Snigda's saint.
Okay, ma'am. And I'm very proud to tell you that the saint whom I admire the most is Kabir Das. He's
Ah,
none other than Kabir Das. Kabir Das, a little bit of introduction I can give you is that Kabir Das was one of the major poet and one of the major poet and saints which the history of India and the land of Indian land has received till date. And the one most beautiful thing about Kabir Das is that he's very bold. He was very bold actually. He was very bold in his attire and in his intentions, what he wanted to convey to others actually. And I am very inspired about him is that his boldness. Actually, I am a person from childhood itself. I'm that kind of a person who was very less confident about herself, and I was quite dull that time. Then I started reading books of those personalities who are very quite bold enough in their admirations and in their intentions, what they want to convey to others. That is the reason why I have joined here too, because of your boldness, ma'am. So similarly, Kabir Das was also a very was a person of very bold personality, and this I can draw out as he was neither a Hindu nor a Muslim, but still he was one of the first saint who wanted to join the Hindus as well as the Muslims. And he was so confident that at that time, when our society was very much rigid, at that time, he used to constrict, he used to resist our bad evils of our society, such as our idol worship, such as our caste system, rigid caste system, and many other things in Muslim religion too. That I don't know much. I will say the truth that I don't know much about what he constricted and resisted in Muslim religion, but in Hindus, he was the first to stand on these things, these ideals. Secondly, he was the one who used to Secondly, he was the one who connected spiritualism with devotion. I don't think that earlier any saint used to do like this, because earlier what worship was is idol worship. What are you doing? Pujas and all. But he was the first one to say that devotion is not which you do in front of an idol. Instead, it is something which is connected from one mind to another. That attracted me very much. His thinking of mind, the way he thinks, was totally different, and that is the reason why I am totally influenced by him. Thank you.
very good, Snigda. Do you remember any one of the Kabir Dohas?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
गुरु दो दोनों खड़े काके लागो पाए बलिहारी को आपनो जो गोविंद दियो बताए. The meaning is the very simple. He says that if teacher and God both are standing in front of you and you are confused and you are confused that whom you will say namaste first or whose feet you will touch first, then Guru comes and says that you should then sorry miss then God says that you should touch the feet of Guru, because he was the one who taught you about what is God. The definition of God, the true meaning of God was given by your guru. So its guru's position is much higher than God or parents. So that's all.
See, you also talked about the prayer. You also talked about remembering of the guru. Remember one thing also which you can take away from here today is we all pray at some stage of the day, some part time of the day. We feel like praying. We want to connect, and we want to pray for whatever you want to pray. Oh, sometimes you have an exam and say, God, please take care of me so that I can write well. Please be. That means you are invoking a higher spirit to help you, to be by your side. See, so we all pray. But the main thing, normally, as you talked about, what Kabir also said, that main thing is we pray, but what do we do after the prayer? See, so many people, I have seen many people who came to the prison, they were regular prayers, but once they prayed, they went for a dacoity, they went to attack, and their prayer to the goddess was the prayer to the goddess. See how misplaced it was. It was a prayer to the goddess to help them succeed in their crime. There are stories, aren't there, stories of gangsters? Haven't you stories of gangsters? Remember these stories of gangsters? There's some films which used to come those days. They used to go to the temples, certain temples, and pray for loot,
Yes.
and then come back and also share the loot. This is not what the goddess is for. This is not the goddess to be invoked for. That's what Kabir was rejecting. So, what I'm
Yes.
saying is, it's prayer, but what do you do after the prayer? If you pray but don't commit crime, you don't hurt people, but you look for goodness, you seek forgiveness, or you see God, give me more to give more. So what do you do after the prayer? You respect your parents, you become more humble, you become more respectful, you become have more concentration, you study more, you value and respect your teachers more, you respect your friends more. So this is what is when we're talking about sainthood. So I'm very proud of the fact that all five of you have paid attention and imbibed certain qualities of these spiritual icons who will always be the pathfinders or path givers to in our lives. Shivani, would you like to come up on stage and give us a little feedback of what you feel? Because I know you are also very spiritually inclined. Shivani, would you like to come up? Since Saina is not in town today, is not with us today. Shivani, would you like to give your views on this subject?
Yes, ma'am. Uh, I really wasn't prepared for this, but it's been good hearing to all five of them. They really prepared well on the saints because when we were doing their orientation, they asked, how should they prepare, and I told them to just pick, choose their saint and focus on what uh, is inspiring them about the saint and what they're learning because that's what really we focus on rather than going back into the life history. And I've enjoyed listening to all of them, whether it was him speaking about Gautam Buddha and the three truths, or Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings, or Kabir Das's dohas. Considering I've studied so much of Hindi, but even I can't remember dohas like this. But his dohas, incidentally, it's Kabir Das Ji's dohas which have found their place in the Guru Granth Sahib. Most of the teachings of the Gurbanis are based on Kabir Das Ji's dohas.
Mm.
So
But you are a
when
devotee yourself. You have a guru too.
I do have a guru. My guru is Shirdi Sai Baba.
Yeah. Tell us about tell us about your guru.
Well, he was a fakir who was spotted in Maharashtra in the city of Shirdi. But he always, I think, spread the word of simplicity, of service, and helping others because he lived in this little hut called Dwarka Mai where people used to come to him for help, and he was always there to help people. He himself lived, the life of a fakir. He was always in that kafni and with that bowl and taking bhiksha and eating. And but his spirituality was so strong that it drew more and more people to him. Because if you watch the serial also, Shirdi Sai on Sony TV, you see how the um Kulkarni Sarkar, who was against him, tried to put him down many, many times, but still his spirituality won over everything. And there are small, small incidences of Shirdi Sai, like when there was a little girl who wanted to light lamps, she didn't have oil. He managed to light those lamps with just water.
Mm.
And he used to cook khichdi in that big pot and feed people, and it was never ending, like the langar in our gurdwaras. It's never ending. There's always food for people. So that's how Shirdi Sai Baba was. And um, I don't know, there's a very strong spiritual connection that I have with him. And I was just about 5, 6 years old when he appeared before me in the temple and even spoke to me. And I didn't even know that was Shirdi Sai until somebody else told me that no such person has come into the temple. It's when I realized it was him. Um, yeah, so from his life, if I learn something, it is to always be, I mean, the lesson of service, the lesson of giving, and simple living. That's my guru, Shirdi Sai Baba.
Wonderful. Today, Shivani, who works, handles the technology back end, also makes snippets for all of us, has today fortunately found the place for it because Saina, who does the summing up every time, is busy elsewhere today, and she was wanting me to request you to excuse her for today. And Shivani, I'm so glad because this is a subject which is so close to Shivani. I know she's a devotee. So, children, I'm so happy that you all picked up this. We'll continue with this. I think it's been a very spiritual session today where all of us are learning from each other, but also purifying our own thoughts and going for with abundance of a blessing. Okay, let's come to you quickly to your questions before we wind up. Adil, you had a question? Thank you, Shivani. You can go
Thank you.
backstage. Thank you.
Ji, ma'am.
Now,
Thank you.
Adil, yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Adil,
Ma'am, I have a question.
huh, your question.
On Friday, 20th October 2022, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi sir proposed the idea of one nation, one uniform for the police force across the country. So, ma'am, what is the significance of this?
Well, that is his thought. But as I have also traveled, as I've traveled, I've been like in Pondicherry, the policeman in Pondicherry wears a red hat. You know,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
wears a red round hat, right? Where all most of the others wear a khaki hat. But
Yes,
Pondicherry policeman wears a round red hat, right?
yes,
That's
ma'am. I've
that's a
seen.
legacy of the French.
Okay.
That's a legacy of the French, right? Now, as you move elsewhere, most of them are, some of them a round hat, some have a berry, some have a white hat. Some it there is different, but normally most of the other color is khaki.
Yes,
Most
ma'am.
of it is khaki, but it's the hats I've noticed as I've traveled also, which changes. So, Prime Minister may be having this in mind that everybody could wear the same kind of hat or maybe the same kind of uniform seems to be the same. To my mind, this policing being a state subject, police is a
Okay.
state subject, you know that. Every state is in charge of its own policing, and it's
True.
state police. That's why it's called state police, Andhra State Police. It's not Indian Police Service is the uniting factor of police services. All India, Indian Police Service uh, are the ones which report to the President of India, appointed by the
Yes,
President. So that's the All India Service which unites the policing. Even then, IPS officer is deputed to the states, and he becomes an IPS officer deputed to the state, and then reports to the state home minister. He also
yes, ma'am.
reports. So basically, policing is a state subject.
Yes,
I'm not sure which state would agree because every state would like to keep his or her own their own identity.
yes, ma'am.
I think it has an advantages and disadvantages. One is, of course, all look alike, but the advantage also disadvantages that states would like to retain their own identity and also
Yes, ma'am.
their own visibility, rather than painting them all with one brush. Pondicherry police, Andhra police, Tamil Nadu police. See, Tamil Nadu police also has something I think something different in their, I don't know whether
Yeah, ma'am. They're
something
different.
different. Yeah. So, but of course, there this thing is written here: Tamil Nadu TN Police. This will be so AP Police like that. That will be there. Maharashtra Police would. So that banner here is indicating the state which they belong to. It has its advantages and disadvantages. But that was an expression. This was a feeling that the Prime Minister expressed himself. But I think having one uniform has its pros and cons, but
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure whether states would ever would like to give up their identity.
Okay.
There is a uniqueness in element, like the red cap of Pondicherry police was quite fascinating for me. I used to
Yeah,
like
ma'am.
it. If you ask me, I used to like it. Okay,
Same.
Chanik, Chanik, Princey, your turn. Princey,
So,
your turn.
ma'am, my question is, as we grow up, our goals just narrow down to get a job and earn money or be successful. I want to ask, is this the correct mindset, or what should be the correct approach as a student?
This could be an add-on. You have extracurricular growth. The more you continue with those extracurricular activities, like Princey, what did you say were your strengths?
I do dance.
You can continue with that. I saw that you continue with that. Second,
I do many other things. I listen to music. I do yoga, aerobics.
so continue with these and add career with it. So if you continue with this versatility, you'll be always a happy human being. You'll never get stressed out because you dance when you feel like, right? You'll do all these extra yoga, fitness, all these are very good stress relievers. In fact, they are energy givers. So if you continue with these hobbies, these will become hobbies at one time, but essential part of your nature. You will never ever be tired. You all will give you a variety, versatility of, and you will make a better career because you'll be more versatile. You'll be a happier human being rather than all eggs in one basket. There's so many things. You read, you write, you sing, you dance, you do yoga. I think these are keep up your habits. Narrowing down only one thing, but yes, you work for your livelihood, but keep up these hobbies which are your strengths.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am. Thank you.
Dakshita, your turn.
So, ma'am, my question is: there are times when we feel like doing nothing and there is no motivation at all. There may have been times when you felt demotivated. So, what kept you motivated at that times? Because work has to be done.
First of all, doing nothing is also it is doing. You are recharging. So remember that when you don't feel like doing it, nothing, we don't want to do. You are recharging. So don't mind that. Like it. You feel like sleeping, sleep. You feel like just playing, play. You feel like singing, sing. You feel like dancing, dance. Or you don't want to do anything, don't do it. But you are doing something. You're giving your mind your rest. You're recharging. A discharged mind, now you reach, it's a charge by itself. So doing nothing is also doing when you are letting your mind rest. So there's nothing wrong with it. So remember, so even I would sometimes say, I today want to just have a break, no appointments, I don't want to do anything, which means what? I'm recharging. So remember that. When you feel like doing nothing, there's nothing to feel bad about it. You're recharging. Give yourself time to recharge. That's how I do, and I did. I also recharge like this. I work and I take a break. When I want to take a break means I don't want to do anything. But I'm not lazy. It's not being lazy, it's just being with yourself. So I think you should look at that from that point of view.
Okay, ma'am.
Done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome. Krishna, your turn.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the year 1979, if I clearly remember it, you led the charge against the Akali mobs in Delhi. So you fought with a single baton, a wooden baton, or we can say it a stick. So, ma'am, how did you dare it?
Because I grew up daring. When you grow up daring, a situation falls. It's like we've grown into swimming. Ma'am, how did you dive? Well, I learned swimming and I'd been practicing diving. When you learn to continue to dare, then when the situation demands, you're just playing. You're doing your duty. So it's a preparation. All this is preparation of life. When you are spiritually preparing, knowledgeably preparing, fitness preparing, playing, competing, and deciding, growing up courageously, a situation challenges you, your natural self. That's why
Ma'am,
having a
actually,
versatile childhood.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Ma'am, actually, this question I took up from the Semi Graval's interview, which you
Yeah.
gave, I think, 11 to 12 years back. So, ma'am, at that time, I saw it, I think, 2 to 3 years ago. So, at that time, I was not in a, ma'am, I was not knowing about the 1979 accidents and the Kali mobs. And, ma'am, actually, I was not aware of you. Then I researched. Then I came up with this question.
You're most welcome. Thank you for asking, son. But it's a good question. That's why we are encouraging all of you to be very versatile, because you never know what quality, what character trait will help you at that time. At that time, that character trait of mine to dare and not run away, but to be digging my heels from a sense of duty, sense of conscientiousness, sense of responsibility. These are learned as a student. Sense of responsibility, diligence, hard work, playfulness, stamina, endurance. All these are grow. Once you grow with these, you never know what is challenge for you at what stage of your life. Like today, learning about saints, you never know when is this going to come to you as a rescue. You won't even know. Oh, tab मैंने पढ़ा था, तब मैंने सुना था, तब मुझे सिखाया गया था. मगर तुम्हारी वो character बन गया. To become courageous and bold was becoming my character. And when I was challenged as a police officer, I was also trained, but when I was challenged, it came naturally. I didn't run away. It's like a soldier. First, he's happy to join the police, the armed forces. He happily joins. कोई जबरदस्ती पकड़ के थोड़ी कोई लाता है ज्वाइन करो आर्मी में. खुशी से आता है, रिक्रूटमेंट करता है, प्रैक्टिस करता है, ट्रेन करता है, पास होता है, पासिंग आउट परेड होती है. And then when the challenge comes, what? He naturally defends the country. Why? Because he's trained and he's mentally into it, mentally trained. He gets, you see, if he ever becomes a martyr, he gets hit here. He doesn't get hit behind. भागता नहीं है, सीने पे गोली लेता है, सीने पे, या सीने उसको मारता है, उसको पीठ पे मारता है, या सीधा मारता है, लेकिन उसको मारता है, लेकिन उसको मारने के लिए नहीं, कंट्री को डिफेंड करने लिए करता है. जब मैंने किया था तब अपनी उस लोगों को डिफेंड करने के लिए किया था, क्योंकि वो नहीं तो गलत जगह जा रहे थे जहां वो क्राउड में तलवारें तो डिफेंड करने के लिए मैंने उनको चैलेंज किया था. बट इट बिकेम an act of bravery because I'd grown up bravely, playing competitive tennis, right? All this, when you're challenging, playing stamina, you're actually becoming braver. So this is why your childhood growth as a student is very, very important to be all rounders. Okay, Snigdha, your turn, your question.
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask the question, and that is how to prevent ourselves from the bad influence of our peer group. Because being a student, I have come across too many other students who advise me, Snigdha, come. This class is very boring. Come, let's bunk. I generally restricted them from doing, and I have restricted myself too. But now, as I am going, it's becoming very hard for me as well. So that is the reason why I wanted to ask this question from you.
Okay, ask your mind what is the right thing to do. Ask your mind.
My, if I ask my mind gives me two answers. My conscience give me two answers. First, don't go. Second is okay, go. I don't know
That's not
what to do.
important. Conscience will never say go or don't go. If you really listen to your inner voice, it will tell you to do the right thing. If you listen to the
Yes.
inner voice, okay, let's say you can do a mama test or a daddy test, papa test, mom test, or papa test. What will mom say?
My mom will say, don't go. And yes, I think my
What will
my
daddy?
mom, my daddy will say, don't go. I think so.
That's it. So, all right, you can do three tests. You can do a conscience test, and you can do your mom's or papa's test. What will they say? Will the parents ever say bunk the class?
No.
Then, then.
Okay.
So, if you are unable to decide, then do a mama test, do a daddy
Okay.
test, and do a conscience test. So, if your conscience, you think it's not your mind, it's a mind which is confused. Your conscience is not confused. If you shut your
Okay.
eyes and ask yourself, what is the right thing for me to do now? It will tell you, don't bunk. Class is important.
Yes, miss.
So do a mama test, papa test, or conscience test. Conscience test, don't confuse the conscience test with a confused mind.
Okay.
Yeah, practice. Practice listening to the inner voice. Inner voice is not the mind. It is your absolutely your God speaking to you. When you do inner voice, it's your conscience speaking to you. When you want something's very attractive, this is very attractive. Say, oh, let me pick this up. Let me take it. I really like it. It's just been left. Nobody owns it. Why leave it? Let me test. So, what will your conscience tell you?
Don't pick it up. My in When I will shut my eyes and if I seriously ask myself a question that should I take it up, then if I take mama test, then she will say don't take it up. Yes.
Okay, so if you have so much of faith in your mom's decision, do mama test. But you should also start invoking your inner voice. Sharpen your inner voice. Once you sharpen your inner voice, you will grow up to become a very strong individual, very ethical individual, and you'll make a great leader. Because in leadership, a lot of nice challenges will come to you. And then as a leader, you'll be able to lead the right way. This is called
Thank you,
practice.
ma'am.
As you grow, this is what practice is about.
I'll
Okay?
surely practice about it.
That's right.
Well,
Listen to your inner voice quietly. And that means quietly sit before you sleep, or sometimes just be quiet. Give yourself quiet time to listen to your inner voice, not your mind, inner voice.
okay,
There's a
ma'am.
difference between your mind and the inner voice. The mind will say, open your eyes, let's have fun, watch Netflix. Your mind will say, let's eat food. Your mind will distract you. Inner voice will say, now that I've resolved to listen to myself, I want to listen. Then you will overrule your mind by your inner voice. Inner voice will say, I'm speaking to you, please listen to me.
Yes.
I used to listen to my inner voices in Pondicherry a lot, but inner voice has been part of me as I've grown. Whenever I did listen to the inner voice, I did always the right thing. Only when I did not listen to the inner voice that I was confused. So mama test is very good. And
And
inner
I
voice
will,
can be
inner
practiced.
voice is too
Can be
important for
practiced.
our growth.
And then you can practice it. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you so much for joining Aditya, Princey, Dakshita, Krishna, Snigdha. The demonstrative learning team must have told you that you'll be part of the book reading WhatsApp group. You'll continue to stay connected, and we'll keep celebrating together our togetherness. So you'll make friends on the WhatsApp group. All the other batches, you're 101 first batch, 101st batch, right? So all the other 100 batches you will be connected with one day, and then we'll celebrate Diwali. We do celebrate, all of us come together. Okay, you'll get morning nutrition. Shivani will send you the morning nutrition. You listen to a very good morning thought every day, which will inspire you. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Jai
you,
Shri
ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye.